Okay, in this video we're going to talk about tension. How the tension works and how can you measure the tension on your Redline embroidery machine. Basically, the tension involves two components. The bobbin tension, which is located right here, and your upper tension, which is all your 15 spools of thread. In order for the tension to work properly, you have to have a balance between the lower tension and the upper tension. And the question is, how can you know if you have the proper tension in your Redline embroidery machine? Well, in this video I'm going to show you how to do that. First, we will start with the bobbin. Since the lower tension it's only one thread, the first thing that I will recommend is to set up the proper tension into the bobbin and then set up the tension in all 15 spools of thread. Okay, so let's talk about the bobbin first. The bobbin is located underneath the needle plate and it goes inside on the rotary hook. So in order to remove the bobbin from the hook assembly, you need to grab this latch and pull the bobbin out like that. This is the bobbin case and inside it's the bobbin thread. First, let me explain you how the bobbin case works. This is our bobbin case. Right here, this little latch is where we can pull the bobbin case out from the rotary hook, or to install it back. This is where we grab here from this latch to pull out or insert the bobbin case inside the rotary hook. Now, this little screw right here holds the tension spring. This is the tension spring. In this big screw, well, bigger than this one that's right here, this bigger screw is where you can adjust the tension for the bobbin thread. So this is the spring that produced the tension, and here's where you can adjust the tension depending of what you need. Just remember that moving this screw to the right side it will be tight, and to the left side it will be loosened. So righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, this slit, basically it's where the bobbin thread passes through the tension spring, and then it goes to what we call the pigtail right here. Okay, now we supply the Redline embroidery machine with Feltec magnetic bobbins. This bobbin basically has a magnetic core from one side and there is no magnetic from the other side. Okay, so if you're going to use the magnetic bobbins, which we recommend, or we highly recommend to use the magnetic bobbins, normally the bobbin cases came with a spring inside the bobbin case. So if you're going to use this type of a bobbin, you will have to remove the spring that is inside of the bobbin case. Just grab a pallet screwdriver, or in my case I have some scissors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this spring right here. So this spring, we don't need this spring in order for us to use this type of a bobbins. And this type of the bobbins, that's what we ship the Redline embroidery machines. And even if you use cardboard side bobbins, I recommend to remove the the spring that it's inside of the bobbin case. Okay, now to install the bobbin to the bobbin case, basically we put the magnetic core goes to the inside of the bobbin case like that, and then we pass the thread through this slit right here, and then it goes through the tension spring and then to the pigtail like that. And then you leave like 1 inch, maybe 2 inches of thread. So when you install the bobbin case into the machine, you have a little thread. So when you're going to stitch, the upper thread can catch the bobbin thread. Okay, so now the question is, how do we know if our bobbin case has the proper tension? There is a drop test or a yo-yo test. So basically you remove the thread out of the pigtail like that, and then you pull the thread like 12 inches, and then with a water marker you can do a mark here like that. And now let me show you how to do the drop test or the yo-yo test. Okay, so basically what you want to do is the drop test. So you're going to lower your hand and then raise it after you mark your thread where the tension is, the tension spring is. You're going to mark it with a water marker, and then you're going to do this. So this space between the mark and the tension spring, it has to have 1 inch through 1.5 inch. Now let's check. We have 1 inch. It means that our tension bobbin right here, it's okay. Now if we have more than 1 inch, even through 1.5, it's okay. But if you have 2 or 2.5 inches, you will have gently tied this screw right here. And then do the test, the drop test again. So this is what you want to see. 1 inch through 1.5 inches distance from the tension spring through the mark. Now another recommendation that I can do is, after you do the drop test and you have properly set up the tension on the bobbin case, put the thread into the pigtail like it shows right here. I don't know if you can, right there, and then you place the bobbin case into a table, and then you press the bobbin case with your finger and then pull the thread. Pull the thread out. Let me show you right. So try to feel the tension on the bobbin case. What you're looking for is to see if you can feel the thread bumpy. If it's bumpy, you're going to have problems in the machine. So you can have bobbin thread break, or even inconsistent tension on your logos. So it's very important to do this test to make sure that your bobbin it's smooth, and you can feel the bobbin pulling out smoothly, and you don't feel like bumpy when you're pulling the thread out of the bobbin case. Okay. Once you have properly tensioned the bobbin case, we're going to insert the bobbin case into the hook assembly. So basically you need to make sure to have your thread in the pigtail and just leave 2 inches of thread out of the pigtail, and then place the bobbin into the rotary hook like this. Then make sure to hear that click. Okay, so let me try to do it one more time. You have the thread inside the pigtail with 2 inches of thread outside of the pigtail, and then we're going to place the bobbin case into the hook assembly until you hear that click. You push it and then you hear the click, and that is how you install the bobbin case into the hook assembly. Okay, now let's talk about the upper thread. How can we set up the proper tension for the upper thread? We have 15 spools of thread on the thread rack, and we have 2 tension knobs for each spool of thread. Okay, one is on the thread rack and the other one it's on the tension box. Okay, now to tight, you move the knob clockwise. To loosen, counterclockwise, or righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, so what we need to do is to run a design. We have a design with the letter H. Basically we have 16 letters of the letter H, or letter H's, and basically we test one by one. We go through 1 to 15 and then we finish on 1, because that design basically we're testing the movement of the sewing head. That the sewing head could move from needle 1 to 15 and then goes back to needle 1. That's when we test the machines here at the Redline facility. We need to make sure that the sewing head moves from 1 to 15, it comes back from 15 to 1. And that is the reason we have 16 H's on that design. I'm going to leave a link on our description box, so where you can download that design. Basically our, like I said, 16 letters of the letter H. Okay, and to set up a starting point on the knobs, basically what we need to do is to put this knob flat to the screw that it's on the center. Okay, so I'm going to move this knob until we got flat the center screw with the knob, and I'm going to do the same thing with all 15 knobs on the tension box, and same thing on the thread rack. For example, this one, I'm going to set it up flat, your knob with the screw flat. Okay, right there I have all my 50 knobs flatter with the screw. This one it's not. What I'm trying to do is to have a starting point with all my tension knobs. All my tension knobs are flat. The center hole, it's flat with the screw right here. And that's my starting point. So now that I have my bobbin, the tension bobbin, it's properly set it up, now I'm going to try to set up the upper thread. Now, we have here a metal tension spring. That's how we call to this thing, the metal tension spring. In here, what I'm going to recommend is pull this lever all the way up and then do 2 clicks. You have to move this down 2 clicks. 1, 2. That is where you want to start. Okay? Basically this put a little tension through the springs on all 15 spools of thread with one little handle right here. So go all the way up and then lower the handle 2 clicks. 1, 2. You can go to 3 if you want, but I think we are putting some pressure there. So let's do 2 clicks. 1, 2. And you leave it like that. Okay? And then we need to have the biggest round hoop that it's provided with the Redline machine. You put a piece of stabilizer. You hoop a stabilizer, double stabilizer basically. It's a double sheet stabilizer into the biggest round hoop that is provided with the Redline, and make sure that looks like this, and also make sure that the inner hoop goes flat with the stabilizer. Otherwise, if this is not flat, it could go stuck with the needle plate. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and now we have our H logo for tension. Go to needle number 1 and make sure, using the arrow keys, make sure to place the center. But right now my hoop, it's on the center. My needle number 1 is on the center of the hoop. I'm going to turn my embroidery mode on, and then I'm going to do a trace. I'm going to start. I'm going to turn on my laser light, and then I'm going to do outline check. Okay. So everything fits perfectly inside the hoop. Remember, we are needle number 1. I always recommend to do the trace on needle number 1, because sometimes you are in needle 8 and then you get confused, and then you're not watching 8, you're watching 7, and then your trace will not be accurate. So in this case, our trace is complete. We know that everything fits inside my hoop. I will turn off my laser light, and then what I will do is I'm going to set up my color sequence. So we have 16 H's, so I'm going to press my color sequence icon, and then I'm going to put 1 through 15, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then I will finish with number 1, and then OK. And then I will going to start my logo, or my H logo, so I can test my 15 needles for tension. There you go. Okay, after we finish the design, we're going to take out the hoop out of the machine, and what we want to inspect is the back of the design. The best way to measure your tension is on a satin stitch. So these H's are made with satin stitch. So this is what we are going to inspect to determine if our tension is okay. Okay, basically what you want to see is the perfect tension is like right here, the brown color. 1/3 of upper thread, 1/3 of bobbin thread, and 1/3 of upper thread. So if you look into the blue, for example, right here, the blue right here, it looks okay to me. If you want to put a little bit more tension to the upper thread, what will happen is that the bobbin will show more, like the black one right here. This also looks okay. This right here, maybe you want to tighten a little bit the purple, maybe half round to the tension box and 1/2 round to the thread rack. So basically what you want to see is this. This is the perfect, this is a perfect tension. This too is perfect tension. This right here is a perfect tension. It's not bad at all. Like right here, for example, this light blue is showing a lot of a tension right there. This means that the upper tension, the upper thread is too tight. Just remember, if you see more bobbin, you need to loosen the tension of the upper thread. If you don't see a lot of a bobbin like right here, it requires more tension. Now what happens if you see all the H's with a lot of a bobbin? There's a lot of a bobbin in all 16 or 15 H's. Well, you can pull out the bobbin from the hook assembly and you can tighten a little bit, just a little bit. You can tighten, or you can put more tension into the bobbin and it will fix all 16 or 15 H's. But for example, right here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Most of them are good except for this one right here. Maybe the white. I'm seeing a lot of a bobbin thread in the white. So what I will do here is I will loosen the knobs in the tension box and on the thread rack. I will do probably half round and half round, and I will test it again. But what you want to see is this. This is perfect, and this is perfect. This is perfect. This is okay, and this is okay. This is perfect, yes. Okay.